Hello everyone, this is Joanna. Thank you so much for coming back. These are going to be your messages for the month of August. I am doing them very differently than I have done them up until this point, so they will resemble more of the mid-July reading, where most of my information will be channeled. I'm not using any traditional tarot cards. I'm using only one card from John Holland's deck and one card for food for thought from Colette Reed's. Everything else is this deck here, which I didn't study, so I just look at pictures and then I hear what I'm to say. Of course, for more long-term projections, there are a lot of videos that I published not that long ago. That information is down below. So there is a 6-month video for each sign on Vimeo from July until the end of the year, and of course there is the Uranus 7-year projection, which has a much longer projection to show you what to expect over the next 7 years. So that information is down below. Of course, these are general readings, so they will not apply to everybody. Listen to your other signs. These may offer you greater picture, and more than anything, thank you so much for liking, for sharing, for subscribing, for private sessions. That information is down below. Thank you so much once again. Please do comment. I love hearing your comments. And without further ado, let's start off with the readings. Hello, beautiful Cancerians. These are going to be your messages for the month of August 2018. I am recording this on the day of the bloody moon, or the blood moon. So energies are very potent. Let's see what we have for you for the month of August. I'm going to tune into your energy and channel messages, some messages first. Letting go of past resentment, hurts, unnecessary drama, consciousness of poverty, alignment with the ego, or too much alignment with the ego. I'll talk about that later. And anything that needs purging in order to assist you in your natural process towards greater fulfillment. The image that I'm being shown is, for those of you who believe in Christmas or who celebrate Christmas, I'm being shown an image of putting the first bulb on a Christmas tree. And when I ask what this represents, it to me beckons, interesting word, a new beginning. And I'm getting chills all over me as I say this. It's a beginning of a new season. Christmas is often a time of celebration, or for those of you who do celebrate it. So the analogy of putting up a Christmas tree and the first bulb going on it represents a brand new beginning of something very special. This something very special is internal growth, which feels very substantial to majority of you. We are all going through reconditioning process as we speak, and each and every individual is choosing to become somebody different, not because we are not good enough, but we are choosing to be a grander version of ourselves. The word choice, when I say we are choosing, for some of you, the choosing will be on a conscious level. For some of you, the choosing happens on a subconscious level or your soul level. And the purpose of me saying this is that for those of you who are not willingly participating in an internal change, in other words, if you are clinging to the status quo, things might get a little bit bumpy. And the reason for it is that when we cling to the status quo, we are essentially keeping ourselves stuck in what is. And growth is never a standstill. Growth is always about changing and shifting. And challenges allow us to understand growth, and most importantly, understand ourselves from a different perspective. So it sounds like the month of August is going to be a bit of a bumpy road or a bumpy ride, and it's not just for your sign. It is shown to me because of the energies that we are dealing with in August. I don't know anything about astrology, or very little, so my information is basically from my spirit guides. But I have read and heard that August in particular, when it comes to the alignment of the planets, is going to be a tricky one. And it is all connected with shift of consciousness, and I'm being asked to say a massive shift of consciousness. I'm getting pressure in my right ear. For some of you, you may actually be experiencing physical symptoms of this manifestation, and you may feel aches and pains. You may feel tweaks in your body that are kind of unrelated to anything. You may feel extra pressure in your head or in your ears, and I'm feeling this in my ear very strongly. So obviously, if this is persisting, visit someone who can look at you, a doctor, but do not be surprised if you experience some of these symptoms of these massive shifts in frequency. And I'm being asked to give an analogy that as being plugged in to a very high voltage. And what this means is when we get plugged into a very high voltage, things that are used to operate on low voltage will break and fry. What does this mean? It means that those conditions that are not meant to be in your life any longer, and you are refusing to let go of them, chances are they will be let go of you. And I'm being asked to say, don't panic. If your life is going great and you are in a great relationships and everything is good, and when I say good, you feel it because you can't lie to yourself, chances are you'll continue manifesting more of that. If you have been stuck in a relationship where you know it's fundamentally not working, but you are choosing to maintain the status quo, chances are something is going to transpire where something is going to knock at your door and say, hey, do you really want to stay here? Because chances are you're not meant to be here, not in this particular state. So again, don't panic. There's nothing bad here, and some of you have been going through this because the tower is being shown to me, and some of you have been going through tower moments, and a lot of it has to do with, well, everything has to do with conditioning, with our belief system. So crossroads are being shown to me. Many of you have been experiencing feeling at crossroads, feeling like you are coming up to a crossroads, which also signifies choices and decisions. I also see quiet yourself. This is a time of greatest manifestation or potential of incredible manifestation at a rapid speed, or so I'm being asked to say. Therefore, choosing to be quiet, to listen to your own inner voice, becomes that much more important in order to get sound messages and sound advice from the highest source possible. At this point, because our ego is going through a reconditioning process, ego may not be, or your logic and reasoning may not always prove to be successful in you trying to figure things out. So when Spirit asks me to go, shh, it's time to pay attention to your inner calling. Now, the card that represents your theme for the month of August, you have the Tower, and the Tower did come up in a reverse position. So what this is telling me is, in the month of August, there might be some challenges that you need to look at, and avoiding it will not bring you long-term success. For some of you, you are going to avoid the Tower moment because you will take precautionary steps, or you will make certain choices in order to deal with it as best as you can while not choosing to be stuck. I hope this is making sense. So what could this mean? Examples. If you have been in a relationship that it's kind of sort of not working, and you've been seeing this for a moment, avoiding the Tower moment means you are being honest with yourself, and you are choosing to ask yourself some deep questions, and you are choosing to listen to your inner guidance. Your guidance will let you know the next step to proceed. So that is avoiding the Tower moment, because you are taking steps in order to move forward in your life rather than choose to be stuck. On the other hand, if you are in a relationship that is not working, and you're kind of just sitting there and standing there and choosing to not do anything about it, hoping somehow it's going to change, chances are you've had several warnings and something might transpire where you will be faced with something that you need to look at, and it might feel a little bit drastic. Again, this is not for those of you who are in happy relationships. These are for those of you who have been struggling and things have not been going great, and doesn't matter what you do, it's just not working. So that is the theme. Discombobulation is the word that I get. What is discombobulation? When we discombobulate things, things come apart. Why do things need to come apart? In order to look at the things that are no longer necessary and put back things together in a way that fits much more firmly, allowing you to have a greater foundation for your stability going forward. The thing that I want to say more than anything is that the energies that we are entering are extraordinarily potent. Whatever we put our focus on, we are more likely to achieve much faster than any other time. So conversely, if you are constantly worrying about things all the time, chances are you will give yourself the gift of bringing to your life something to worry about. On the other hand, if you choose to take some steps towards shifting your constant worry by quieting your mind, by expanding your awareness, by being honest with yourself, by choosing to listen to your intuition, then chances are you will move forward and far away from that which used to keep you stuck in the past. So I'm being asked to say this over and over in all the other signs. It is extremely important what you put your effort and focus to. So if you put your focus on something that is not working, well, you will get more of the same. Conversely, the opposite is true. Now, the card that represents what needs to be let go of or what you are leaving behind, you have the card called of spiritual sovereignty. When I tune into this card, what I feel is lack of unification with one. And so basically what this means is if you have been feeling isolated, separate, alone, lonely, if you have been feeling discombobulated, it's time to look at the reasons why and come to a conclusion whether you choose to stay that way or whether you choose to allow yourself to become much more aligned. When we become much more aligned with who we are by addressing the things that keep us stuck, we then become much more peaceful inside, and the feeling of unification becomes much more pronounced. So isolation, if you've been feeling isolated, if you've been rejecting aspects of you, if you've been dealing with self-doubt, self-hatred, whatever negative self component, it is time to stop rejecting aspects of you, because when we do this, we do in fact become discombobulated. All our weaknesses serve us in a way that if we choose to look at them can give us the greatest possible strength. So if one of the things that you are working with or dealing with is lack of confidence in yourself, you have to examine where it comes from for you, how it translate itself in your physical life. What are some of the choices and decisions that you make based on this fundamental belief, and find a way to choose to think of yourself differently. The past is the past. The future hasn't happened yet. The only moment you have is the present moment. And at any time during your now, you can always change the way you feel. And they're asking me to give you an example. Why? How? How can I change the way I feel about myself? It's actually quite simple. Think of something that you absolutely love more than anything in your life. Have that image in your mind and notice what it feels like. It absolutely instantaneously shifts your vibration. So this is an example of focused attention to something that feels good to you. When we focus on that, we become unified. When we become unified, the world is a much happier place to live in. So that is being addressed as far as what you need to leave behind. Natural humility is another message. So when I tune this into this card, I'm going to show you again. It is about tempering the ego. Now, how appropriate, right? Especially with this bloody moon, and all the energies. What is natural humility? Natural humility is finding the balance between the ego self and the spiritual self. We need both. Many of us are stuck in fear, and that fear is based in our ego. It is our ego self that it's afraid. And again, if we have so much of that, we separate from the aspect of us that is unified, that is one with all. So, what is it that I want to say about this message for you? Anything that you can do in your life to create a greater balance of your own ego with your spiritual self, whatever that may mean to you, in whatever religious faith, belief, whatever that means to you, will bring you to a more balanced space from where you'll be able to build a much more fulfilling life. Why? Because when you come from a place of balance, everything you create seems to flow a little bit more naturally in a much more balanced way. Does that mean you're not going to have issues to deal with? Not at all. But any issues you do come to deal with, you'll be able to fundamentally deal with in a better way, because you're going to come from a much stronger and stable foundation. Leap of faith is another aspect that's coming up. Now, what is a leap of faith? Well, leap of faith is taking a chance on something that is unfamiliar, something that you have no proof will work, but something that your deeper self is telling you should. It is not based on logic. It is not based on the intellect. It is more based on the feeling that you get, that I call your intuition, your gut, your spidey senses, whatever that is. For some of you, it is about taking the leap of faith, and it requires you to trust yourself in order to make the right decisions. Some of you, it's taking a leap of faith to leave a situation that no longer serves you. For many of you, there is a challenge with trust. Your second chakra comes up. So for females, you may have some issues around your ovaries. For males, you can have your issues around your testes. Anything around that area which is below the belly button, physically speaking, if you have any disturbances, that can often be associated with lack of trust, which is the second chakra. It is also affecting your fundamental aspect of how you feel about yourself. So it does affect your self-confidence and your power, which is let's say it's your self-confidence. So what the leap of faith is asking or me to say is, take chances in life for something better. Again, large message, but if you have been stuck in an environment where things are fundamentally not working, you are emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually drained, and it feels like it's constant hard work, you have to ask yourself first why you're there, how is it serving you, and if you've had enough. Now, I know some of you will say, well, I can't just leave a relationship. I mean, I'm not working and somebody else is supporting me. Yes, I hear you. You're not being asked to drop everything and forget about your responsibilities. But what it does ask of you, it asks of you to at least allow yourself to envision something different. When we start to envision something different, we effectively start the process of creation. And again, he's showing me the idea of the bulb, first bulb on a Christmas tree. This is a time of something very exciting. It is a time of something tremendously very special. If you put your thoughts on your greatest desires rather than the things that are not working, chances are you are going to create that down the road as long as you focus your attention on it. So the leap of faith isn't just leave things behind. For some of you, it's something you've been thinking about for a long time, and it's time to finally go, okay, I'll take a leap of faith. And that could also be you avoiding the inevitable tower moment. For some of you, it's just take a leap of faith in order to imagine something different for yourself. Some of you may be stuck in situations and you have a fundamental belief that there just is nothing better. Always remember, it is your belief that defines your existence. This is your typical law of attraction, but it's fundamentally based on the energy in which you vibrate, predominantly speaking. So if your fundamental belief system stems from the place of I will never be loved, you are constantly vibrating on that level. That level of vibration is going to attract to you same level of vibration. You guys get what I'm talking about? I think I've said this many times before. So how do we do this? Well, it sounds like you will be going through some healing moments. There'll be some situations, there may already have been some situations where what may seem as something uncomfortable will allow you to purge some old stuff from the past and allow some healing. Many of you are struggling with a lack of sense of who you are. What do I mean by this? When you lack the sense of who you are, your belief system is never truly rooted in your strength. In other words, if you constantly wonder, am I going to get this? Is this person going to be this? Am I going to get that? Am I ever going to be loved? Am I going to have money? If you're always questioning, then that means your fundamental aspect of you is not very strong. So you need to start working at the core of your belief system about who you truly are, because who you believe you truly are, not logically, most of the time is not even subconsciously, it's subconscious, but who you truly believe you are, you then create a certain expectation of life. When you have a certain expectation of life, you then accept that into your life, and then we come in this vicious cycle. And again, because I'm being shown that the month of August is going to be, well, fundamentally bumpy for most people, not just Cancerians, chances are you will experience some moments, internal moments, where things will come up to the surface in order to help you recognize that which no longer needs to be part of your life. For some of you, you may just feel bouts of crying and you don't know why. For some of you, you may feel anger and you may not know why. For some of you, you may feel an anxiety and you may not know why. Chances are something is being triggered from the past. It may not be anything in front of you, but with the energies that we are approaching, things are starting to get very interesting. So, just like anybody else, you are go through a healing process and purging process. The eclipses in this summer are apparently responsible for a lot of this. The Uranus in the sign of Taurus is responsible for a lot of it. So this is all about uprooting our old belief systems. The food for thought card, you have new life in protection position. So what is this saying? It's basically saying that some of you want to start new, but it's saying that although you may want to start new, you are not ready yet to do that. Why? Chances are because you're in a process of healing, and therefore until that process is well underway, or until you purge a lot of the muck that has been responsible for your past situations, you can't really create something new, well, because you're stuck in your current belief system. So for many of you, there is a new beginning. Just like I said, the Christmas tree and the beginning of a new cycle, something exciting. But for many of you, the message is, it's not right now. Be patient, have time. For some of you, you need to accept things you cannot change. And the only way to deal with that is pure acceptance. So again, the analogy of being in a tricky situation that isn't working. If you fundamentally have tried everything and it is not working, asking why is kind of a futile process. You have to accept at a certain point that it's not working and move on. Now, this can be a relationship, this can be work, this can be small situation or big situation. It could be anything in life. It's a general message. I do get it. But that's how they want me to say it to you this month. Many of you are dealing with lack of cooperation. This could be lack of cooperation at work, lack of cooperation in your relationship. If this is what you have been experiencing for a prolonged time, you need to ask yourself if this is still something you want to participate in. Chances are you don't, but chances are also that you don't know what to do about it. So again, allowing yourself to envision something different and something better will start the process of creation, because it will allow you to feel the idea of what it would be like to be somewhere different. Again, the basic law of attraction. Don't be afraid of the change, and don't be afraid of the changes that are coming. We're all going through it. The greatest gift you can give to yourself at this time is to stay as present in the moment as you possibly can. When we have moments of stuff coming up in our life, we get triggered and everything gets wired up and we start to worry. And those are also the moments when we can recognize some pretty strong patterns, but those are also the moments where being in the moment is most difficult. But just like anything, faith is easy when things are easy. When things are tough, faith is a little bit more difficult. So all I'm saying here is that over the next several months, because these eclipses can take, I believe, up to 6 months, there'll be some stuff you'll be dealing with. And some of these changes are massive, and it's all because you need change. And some of these changes are not so big. So chances are, if you have been working towards a greater goal by aligning yourself with your higher source, chances are these changes will not be as drastic. If you have not been working on that aspect of you, and if you have been ignoring it, and if you have been having your head stuck in the sand because you pretend not to see, chances are you might be dealing with something, well, maybe a little bit bigger. Point is, all of us are going through changes. Every single individual will experience some changes on some level. We're all shifting. When a change does appear in front of you, examine it without attachments and without any labels. And just notice how this particular situation has been serving you. By seeing yourself from a distance and from an observer's point of view. Oftentimes when you detach emotions by observing yourself, you can see the bigger picture, and therefore you can see things much more clearly. This will give you the advantage of seeing things from a much bigger perspective, which will also allow you to gain greater awareness of what you should do next. So this is an exercise that they're asking you to do if you are feeling stuck, in order to gain some clarity as far as what this is about, how is this serving you, and what you can do going forward. At the end of the day, sitting like this is not going to do anything. So if some of you are kind of like this, waiting for things to happen, your participation in this process is greatly required. And I think that's all I have for you. I hope this was helpful. I'm being shown the symbol of Ankh, A-N-K-H. That's a very Egyptian symbol. I don't know. I'm being asked to share this with you. So I believe it's eternity. It's never-ending life. I believe that's what it means. So for those of you who connect to Egypt, this symbolism is being shown to you. For those of you who don't, just look up the symbolism of A-N-K-H and see if there's a hidden message in it for you. Another message I'm hearing is the sign of bear. Look up what the spiritual meaning of a bear is, and for many of you, there's going to be a message in it for you, and I'm actually going to look that up as well. So I thought I think that's all I have. Take care of yourself. I wish you best of luck. I wish all of us best of luck in the month of August. Of course, this is a general reading, so it may not mean anything to you until later, or bits and pieces may mean something to you. For personal sessions, of course, that information is down below. I do wish you best of luck. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you soon.